I got like 2 more because D-Jack needs his stuff back.
Is any of that yours or is
The
that...
chest hair is mine.
It's time for another Broken Plane podcast, coming to you from the Pod Shed in Tigard, Oregon, with your hosts TK and JB.
Welcome to the Broken Plane Podcast, Season 2, Episode 23. I'm JB.
And I'm TK.
DK, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
That drop in the intro.
What was that? That was funny.
That was Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, it was.
At his post-game press conference.
That's right. He apparently, after the win in Philly, snuck into Deshaun Jackson's locker and stole some of his clothes and was wearing a track jacket, unzipped down, showing off the man chest.
It was the
chest hair.
Pretty grisly.
That's
yeah.
the only thing that was his. He had a couple of chains on.
Yeah.
And some sunglasses.
Some fantastic mirrored aviators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gave the press conference in Deshaun Jackson's clothes, and apparently one of the reporters had to ask if any of those clothes were his, and no, they were not. Funny stuff. Good interview. He gives a good interview even in somebody else's clothes.
It's really, really not bad. I tell you this, it's fine that he did that. I don't think he gets away with that if he's not coming off the second fantastic game.
Yeah, he's feeling really good.
Yeah, so congratulations to Fitzmagic, I guess, now, right?
I said week 1 Fitzmagic, Fitz 2 Fitztragic. I think now it's Fitz what is going on?
Kind of weird, right?
Yeah, this is bizarre.
One thing that we were looking at this week for the Buccaneers, we're trying to figure out what in the world is happening with the Buccaneers. They're ranked next to dead last on the offensive line and run blocking.
Right.
But they're ranked 7th in pass blocking. So apparently
only 2 sacks given up, and they're giving them all the time in the world.
That's right. As long as you keep Fitzpatrick upright in the pocket, he's just going to pick guys apart all day. Just don't ever run the ball.
That's so weird.
50 attempts a game, 60 attempts a game, that's fine.
He's gotten 2 games, the first 2 games, both wins over New Orleans and Philadelphia. How is that happening? 2 400-yard games, 4 touchdown passes in each of them, plus a rushing touchdown in the first game. And 4 of those touchdowns are for 50 or more yards.
That's amazing.
What?
And certainly not sustainable, right? I mean,
no.
Not all year.
This can't keep happening.
I feel terrible because I haven't watched either one of those games. These are offensive juggernaut games. These are
the
huge
New Orleans
numbers.
game was fun for sure. I can understand not watching the Philly game.
But I've been watching other stuff.
Though interestingly, the Philly game is probably more proof a show me game for Fitzpatrick.
Really? Well, it makes sense. I think Philadelphia's defense
Their defense
is
much better.
So
I
that
think
makes sense.
You found a tweet Tony Dungy had put out about people were laughing at him saying that he thought that Tampa Bay and Fitzpatrick had a chance to beat Philly, and you didn't retweet that?
Was that me?
I didn't retweet it, but I saw it in our feed.
But it must have been me then.
Anyway,
wow.
Dungy was coming back at the haters, clapping back. How dare you laugh at me when I called this out? I said Philly was going to lose because Philly puts their cornerbacks on an island and makes them defend one-on-one.
Oh, I do remember that.
And all it takes is Deshaun Jackson to beat his man, and then Fitzpatrick just lays a pass out there. And as bad as Fitzpatrick may be, he can still lay a ball out.
That was I do remember putting that out there.
Yeah.
So well done, Fitzmagic in Tampa Bay.
Amazing. Enjoy
it while you can. You've got 2 more games at least.
When will it end?
1 more game at least.
Right. Do you think? Okay. If he does another one, if he gets another win this weekend, Pittsburgh.
Right.
Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
Dun.
Do you keep him in?
Oh, yeah.
With Winston back?
Yes.
Okay.
You keep him in. You know what? At this point,
that.
Let me ask you this. Turn that around. If he lays an egg against Pittsburgh, do you put Winston in?
I think I do.
I don't know if I do. I'm serious. I don't know if I do. Because you've got a guy here, he's got 2 great games, and he throws 1 egg. I mean, I might, I might start him.
It depends on what he looks like.
I might start him week 4 and just give it a shot.
I don't think he's going to. The way that Patty Mahomes lit up Pittsburgh, I don't think Fitzpatrick's going to have a bad game.
I didn't even think about it.
He might not have another 404 touchdown performance, but he's probably not going to have a bad game.
That's a really good point because Pittsburgh's defense is looking suspect.
Yeah.
I mean, against Cleveland in week 1 and against Kansas City. Yeah.
And to be fair, Cleveland didn't even have a good performance because Tyrod was 15 for 40.
Yeah.
But they still only tied with them.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh fans, you cannot claim that the reason Tyrod Taylor was 15 for 40 was because of Pittsburgh's defense.
It's because he's
it's because
he's a Brown, really.
Yeah, well, he's a perfectly adequate quarterback.
I don't know. I should have to look back at this now, but I wonder if he's ever thrown even close to 40 passes in a game. Because surely in his time with Buffalo, he was a game manager, and it was feed the ball to Shady.
Yeah, but he was also. I mean, they were behind in a lot of games too, so it's tough.
That'll be interesting to look at later on.
I doubt he threw 40 balls and only completed 15, though.
That's true,
because that's miserable. That's pretty bad. They were lucky to get out of that with a tie.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, moving on. Twitter fan of the week. Who do we got?
Twitter fan of the week. This week, a new follower, Gio at Giovanni320. There we go. Gio. He's a Yankees fan. It's a good thing this is a football podcast. We can't hold that against you, Gio. He is a Giants fan as well, I believe. Some pictures on there show him in a Giants jersey. Mm-hmm. So he's had some good times. He's had some bad times.
You know what? One of my favorite shows is The West Wing, and one of my favorite lines from The West Wing is Toby Ziegler, and he's talking to his child, his I think 2-year-old child, and the child's dressed up. His mother dressed him up in Baltimore Orioles gear, and Toby says, "Be a Yankees fan, son. It's just easier."
It's true. It is.
Oh my! Right there, that line is a big reason why I'm a bandwagon jumper now. The front runner. That's my team.
Aaron Sorkin sold you. Is that his show?
Well, it wasn't at the time.
Oh.
He stopped writing it at the time. But yeah, that's his show. But yeah, seriously, any team now. I'm a Seahawks fan. I was stuck with that from birth. I'm saddled with it for the rest of my life.
But every other sport,
I don't care. Who am I rooting? Who's in front? Who's favored? That's my team. I don't even play
It's a good way to live life when you're an adult. You've suffered through the pain as a child when you can stand it.
As you get older.
Now you're old and you're just sick of all the losing, and I just want to win.
It hurts.
I need this win.
So a Yankees fan. That's good. Yeah. Good for you.
I like that he's a New York Giants football fan. We love some of the players on their team. Mm-hmm. We love Odell.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Odell.
Uh-huh.
We love Saquon.
Love Saquon.
Easy to jump on his board.
Love Manning.
Bandwagon.
Love Eli.
You do.
Fantastic.
I don't love Eli, but that's okay. He probably doesn't either anymore. Yeah.
Hall of Fame quarterback.
Love Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
And love watching Eric Flowers play. I mean, that's always good for a laugh.
He's had some rough games, hasn't he?
I think he did all right, though, week 2. DeMarcus Lawrence stood up well against him. So, yeah. Anyway, Gio will be featured later on the show. He's got some fantasy advice he wants, so we're going to talk about something he's got. But we thank him for following us, listening, participating. Mm-hmm. It's been great. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gio.
Thank you, Gio. All right. You can get a hold of us on Twitter at The Broken Plane. Email, thebrokenplanepod@gmail.com. You can catch us on YouTube. And that's really it.
That's all you need.
That we are looking. We're going to stop doing Quickie News. We have a new segment that we've decided to pull out.
Try it on for size.
Quick reads. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go to the Roto World homepage.
Yes.
Okay.
The NFL splash page.
The NFL splash page, and they've got their blurbs on each of the players getting ready for this week's games, and we're going to talk through a bunch of them and see if we agree what Roto World is saying. So basically, you're listening to this podcast. If you just want to go to the website and read what's there,
follow along.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need us at all at this point.
Yeah, that's right.
This is going to be awesome.
All right, starting off at the top, Joe Hayden, defensive back for the Steelers.
He's still playing?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got a hamstring injury, but he's expected to return week 3. Oh, when they play Tampa Bay.
When they play Tampa Bay.
And Hayden's good.
Yeesh.
He's got some talent.
You know what? I think I'm more inclined to jump on some Tampa Bay players if Joe Hayden's back.
Oh, really?
I think
so. You don't like Joe Hayden.
He's really old, and with a bum leg, too. Come on.
With the hammy.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. Going to be a tough one.
No, not tough. Thumbs down.
Everybody, start Deshaun, start
Mike
Evans.
Yep.
Start Chris Godwin. You heard it here first. Next up on the list, your boy, Russell Wilson.
Uh-oh.
Hamstring.
Oh,
Practicing
come on.
in full for week 3 against the Cowboys. Everything's fine. You don't have to fall back onto Rex Hudler yet.
You know what? Russell Wilson's already been sacked 12 times this year.
That's right.
That's on pace for 96 sacks.
Is that the league lead right now?
Oh, I don't know if it is or not, but if
he
it's
was
not,
down at the bottom.
It's got to be close.
Yeah.
He was sacked 6 times week 1, 6 times week 2.
Ouch.
And they're playing Dallas this week at home.
They'll get a couple sacks.
Running for his life. Yeah. That's what my boy Russell Wilson is doing. Hey, remember we were talking about offensive lines and where they were kind of ranked by Football Outsiders?
Yes, I do.
And Tampa Bay was bad in running and good in passing. Mm-hmm. Turns out Seattle's bad in both. Yeah. Good job,
Doesn't
Seattle.
surprise me. They should have spent more picks on offensive linemen.
You know what? How about just spending more cash in free agency?
That's true.
If
They
you're not
could do
going to
that,
draft, then just buy some people. Would
Yeah.
you please? Oh, this is really frustrating for me because Russell Wilson is he's an actual franchise quarterback. Seattle hasn't ever had one of those. You can say maybe Matt Hasselbeck was a franchise guy, but I wouldn't say that. But Russell Wilson seems like he is, and they're going to get him killed.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's gonna. That's a lot of wear and tear.
He's lucky to have survived this long as a frantically running around the field quarterback and not have sustained an ACL injury.
Well, you put the curse on my boy.
No, I knocked on wood.
Okay,
You're fine.
all right.
I'll do some more here.
The other thing, too, is if you go back and watch him his rookie year and his second year, he didn't take hits.
More of a pocket passer?
Well, no.
Or
he would
was
get
able
down.
to get away from
He would go
everything or get
downfield
out.
and get down, get out of
Yeah,
bounds.
okay.
And he wouldn't take hits. And now,
How he's doing more because he needs to.
yeah, this is a bad scene. This
Yep.
is a bad scene for if you're a Seattle fan,
out.
the time to panic is now.
Well, the good thing is they're going to get out of that contract after this year.
That's the good thing.
Do you think they're going to extend him? Or do you think he's going to bolt and say, nah, I'll go play somewhere else?
You know
Someplace
what?
that has an offensive line.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if he ends up going. They can franchise him, and they might choose to do that. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's more interested in playing for somebody else. He'll have success with other teams. Why would he stay in Seattle?
I kind of agree. I think he'd do better somewhere else.
Anyway, enough Seahawks
Too
talk.
bad. Oh, well, that's too bad because Doug Baldwin is next up on the list. But it's easy. It just says he remained sidelined, so he will not be playing this week.
Okay, yeah.
We all knew that was happening.
Yeah.
It's the Brandon Marshall show.
Yep.
The Renaissance Fair continues. I don't have a clever pun
Not
for
this
his
week.
game this week.
Okay.
He didn't do well last week. He did not tame a moo.
No.
A
And
moo tamed him.
honestly, they seem to be throwing the ball to Disley, the tight end who was supposed to be a blocking tight end out of Washington. He's a rookie.
He's got those magic fingers.
So again, one more year where Seattle's wide receivers just are weird. It's a weird pick. It's for fantasy guys. That's terrible. How you can't trust them. Who knows what they're going to come up with?
Yeah.
Is Doug Baldwin worthy of a start? Sometimes, but you don't know when.
Exactly.
Yeah. So good luck.
Ryan Tannehill on the injury report. Knee and ankle injuries. Are you worried about this?
They're playing Oakland in Oakland.
No, it's in
and-
Miami.
I'm sorry, in Miami. They're playing Oakland in Miami, so they're
Right.
at home. I'm really not concerned. Remember, Khalil Mack isn't on the Raiders anymore,
That's true.
so there's not as much of a pass rush to worry about.
Or is there any pass rush to worry about?
Bruce Irvin against Denver. Bruce Irvin put a
He's
little
still
bit of
got a
pressure
little bit of
on.
pressure?
Not a ton. Case Keenum was able to stand in the pocket and do pretty well. I'm not concerned about Tannehill not being able to get away from people.
Yeah. Okay. The good news also for Miami is Devontae Parker is practicing in full this week. He could finally return. They could use another wide receiver. Can't hurt.
Nope, can't hurt at all.
And Kenyon Drake, abdomen injury, also practicing in full, so that's good.
An abdomen injury?
Yeah.
What? I
Who
wonder
knows
what
what that
is.
means.
Sounds like a sports hernia. Sports hernias are bad.
Antonio Brown. This is a fun one.
Has he been traded?
No.
Because that was fun.
That would be fun.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That was awesome when he tweeted out, "Trade me." That was great.
But it was in reference to somebody saying that Ben Roethlisberger made him good, not that he wanted to be traded.
Yeah, the full context is that there was a tweet that came out where somebody said, and no disrespect to Antonio Brown, but if he wasn't with Big Ben, he wouldn't be anything. Big Ben made him.
It seems kind of like it's full disrespect to Antonio Brown at this point.
Well, anytime you hear no disrespect, yeah, pretty much the next words are
Not even a backhanded compliment.
no. And Antonio Brown responded, "Well, trade me."
Yeah, we'll see how well you do without me.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure if Antonio Brown was on the Seahawks would be doing better.
Yeah.
That's
Pittsburgh, not so much.
No.
Though Juju is great.
Yes.
Can't deny that. Anyway, this says Steelers coach Mike Tomlin said Antonio Brown was disciplined for missing a team meeting on Monday.
Okay.
So all the big hubbub, he's disciplined.
Okay.
But probably nothing important.
Well, disciplined? What does that mean? They fined him?
They slapped him on the wrist.
And honestly, that's fine.
Hey, don't do it again.
I don't have a problem with it. That's fine.
Steelers are boring.
Yes.
Winless in 18. Just the way I like to see it.
Yeah. Haven't won a game since 2017.
Yeah.
It's been almost a year.
You hear about the Ravens?
What about the Ravens?
Fined $200,000 for violations of the coach-to-player communications policy during the preseason.
What?
They trotted out multiple players with the communication device and the headsets and the helmets.
In preseason. You know what? You should be able to go out on the field with anything you want during the preseason.
Who cares?
Because those games don't mean anything.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
And it's the funniest part about this to me was reading the replies to the report tweets from like Ian Rappaport on Twitter. Everybody's saying, well, if it was the Patriots, Tom Brady would be suspended for 6 weeks.
No, he wouldn't.
No.
Because nobody cares. Because these games don't mean anything.
That's not the same thing as cheating.
You know what? I can make a case that you should have everyone on the field connected to the communication device.
I don't even understand why it's a thing. As long as both sides of the ball have the communication sets, what's the big deal? Whether one person's calling the play or one person on the sidelines calling the play.
Well, you said it. As long as both sides have access to the same technology at the same time, what is the problem? It happens a few times a year when the communications devices go down on one side, and then they stop the game. Oh, you can't use the communication device anymore because it's broken over there.
Or get this guy a headset before we start the game again.
Yeah. Or we have to get it fixed. It has to be the same, which it should, and that's right. But I think last year wasn't there some hubbub about Jared Goff getting signals from Sean McVay?
I think
they
so.
would rush to the line so that McVay could call out audibles for him at the line. Again, I don't care. If you want to coach your quarterback, and treat him like a puppet. That's fine. It seems to work good for them. What's wrong with that? But Baltimore is being fined $200K because in a preseason game they trotted out two guys with the headset thing in the helmet at the same time.
They like bending the rules in the preseason. I think the two previous years they've also gotten dinged with minor fines like this, or Harbaugh got fined even, maybe not the team, for holding two-a-days even though they're not supposed to in like training camp season or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah. Carroll used to get busted for that.
Yeah.
Or going too hard in practice during OTAs, and they'd be like, "Oh no, you tackled too hard during OTAs when you're not supposed to touch anybody."
That's right.
And then they'd lose like a practice somewhere along the line. It was silly. You know what? I've always admired the Patriots for stuff like this when they go a little bit too far with like
you're testing the waters.
Yeah, you're filming your opponent's practice and you get busted for it. You're like, "Oh well, I guess we can't do that anymore." You put a bug in the locker room. You're like, "Oh, we got caught. I guess we can't do that anymore."
It wasn't in the rule book. Oh. Sorry.
But at least they're, like you said, they're pushing. They're pushing and trying to find out new ways.
Yeah.
Is it cheating? Maybe. Do I care? No, I do not.
Don't care either.
What's next?
I'm with you. Next up, you're going to like this one. Traquan Smith,
okay,
rookie wide receiver for the Saints. Sean Payton says he wants to get him more touches from here on out.
Well, I would like that too.
That's great.
It seems weird to me that he hasn't gotten as many touches as I thought he was going to get.
1 target for 0 catches week 1, 1 target for 1 catch for 18 yards last week.
Yeah, so
I'm surprised they're not using him as much. It's been the Mike Thomas show and Alvin Kamara show basically, and that's it.
Well, they're 0-2 now.
They're 1-1. They barely beat Cleveland.
Oh, they did because I'm sorry. Yes, that's right.
It felt like a loss because they only won by 3 at home to the Cleveland Browns.
They should have lost, right?
Yeah.
We'll probably talk about that in a bit, but you're right. I'm sorry. They're 1-1, and they honestly haven't been able to stop anybody. So I can see where, as a play caller, Sean Payton has been locked into what he thinks are his top guys, because he's probably getting a little nervous for a win now. But now that they're 1-1, it's a good time to step back and reflect and do some self scouting and see what their tendencies have been, and probably work in a new player is a great idea. Also, a player that I picked for Rookie of the Year, Sean.
Well, it was a long shot anyway.
Come on, Sean.
I hadn't even heard of him. Not that I know a ton about college guys. But
Right.
I know a little bit now that we're doing this.
When does Ingram come back?
Week 4 or week 5. I think it was a 4-week suspension.
Okay.
So he's still got 2 games left. What about Jadeveon Clowney? He's been quiet so far this year.
He has been, yeah.
Back and elbow injuries, limited in Wednesday's practice.
You know what? It feels to me like Watt or Clowney is always dinged.
They are. It doesn't feel like it. It's true.
So that's a real thing. So I'm not making that up.
No.
Okay. I don't know. Is the problem on Houston defensive? Do I care? Because I think the problem with
lately
Houston,
it hasn't been, because they're not putting up a ton of points,
I think the
which
problem
is
with
surprising.
Houston, is that they're just not scoring points.
Last year, from week 1, the second half of week 1 up and through week 8 or whatever it was, the problem was defensive, because Deshaun Watson was throwing 7 touchdowns a game, but they were allowing 8 touchdowns a game and losing 50-46 or whatever.
And that was when Watt was out. And so people were saying, maybe when JJ Watt comes back, then things will be fixed.
Yeah.
And turns out, I guess not.
Aaron Rodgers says there is a concern that his knee injury could get worse.
Really? Okay, now hold on. Let's unpack that. Because if there is a concern that his knee may get worse, why are you playing him?
Right. Because Deshaun Kaiser is there, and you want to win.
Man.
And Rodgers wants to win. But do you want to lose Rodgers?
I mean, don't get me wrong, because he's playing just fine right now, but he is not the youngest guy in the world. He's not a 23-year-old kid. His knee's not going to bounce back.
And if you saw him on Sunday against the Vikings, he was not as mobile as he's normally.
Yeah.
So obviously he's hurt.
Did you watch that game?
Yeah.
How was he handling not being mobile?
I think he handles it well.
But what does he do?
I think they've built in quicker plays to get the ball out of there sooner. I think they're telling the offensive line to block better.
Those coaches should come to Seattle and tell those guys to block better too.
Rodgers was still surprisingly mobile for a guy that has a bum knee.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same mobility that we've seen out of him in the past. It's going to be hard to get healthy. I don't know when their bye week is. Hopefully it's early.
Would you consider holding him out a game at this point?
You know what I would be looking to do is run up the score early.
Okay.
So I can put Deshaun in and maybe just
run
the ball.
Handle it that way.
Yeah. Aaron Jones is coming back this week. Got a nice trio of running backs now with Jones, Williams, and Montgomery.
That's a nice trio.
Yeah.
Would you want any of those guys?
Sure, as a second or third guy.
Okay.
All right, how about this one?
Mm-hmm.
Case Keenum not practicing on Wednesday. The Broncos quarterback.
You think he's going to be, is he questionable? Do they have him listed, or is he just not practicing?
Mike Kliss, the local reporter, says that the DNP is precautionary.
They're just holding him out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no real worry that
Chad Kelly
is getting into a game.
You know what?
Immediately.
We talked about Chad Kelly a little bit in the preview show, and I would be really interested to see him get a chance to start at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not ready for it yet, but I think he has a better skill set than Keenum. I don't know about I don't think probably his decision making isn't up to where Case Keenum's is, because he's younger and not as experienced. But physically, I think he's got all the tools. He's a pretty exciting kid.
Right. And I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that Keenum plays his way out of a starting job at some point in the year.
Yeah. I was watching him against the Raiders, and that was... some of the throws he makes are just like, why? We have a lot of Rams fans that listen to the show, and I'm sure you could feel... you felt this way at some point. What happened? Why was that a thing that I had to see with Case Keenum?
He's one of those guys that mixes in fine to decent throws with not a lot of, I shouldn't say, but a fair sprinkling of head scratchers.
Yeah, it's just that you were doing fine, and now suddenly the drive stalled because you made two bad decisions in a row.
Yeah. Last one, Billy Price, center for the Bengals, first-round rookie this year, went down in the middle of the Baltimore game with an ankle injury. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks.
Eesh.
Cincinnati has one of the better offensive lines so far this season, according to Football Outsiders. Third in the run, like 7th or 8th in pass.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe switch that. Third in the pass, 7th or 8th in the run blocking abilities. Do you think this has much of an effect on their ability? I mean, they've been playing really well. They lose their center. It's now going to be Alex Redmond, apparently, according to the Roto World depth chart, who I've never heard of.
I've never heard of him either. Is it good? You know what? Anytime a center gets moved out, I think it's a big deal, because that's the guy who usually calls your protection. This was a rookie, so maybe they didn't have him doing that.
That's true. It could be.
So if he wasn't the guy responsible for calling out protections, then I think it is less of an impact. But he was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
So
I think it does hurt your run a little bit, because that's where a lot of the run blocking happens, is in the middle.
Yeah.
You're less worried about the run blocking with your tackles than you are with your guards and your center.
I think it's more a communication issue.
Yeah.
But let's be honest now. He was the starting center for a reason, and you're not going to improve by taking your starting guy out and putting in the backup.
Definitely not.
That's really, unless your coach is really bad. Hey,
yeah,
the Verminator. But I don't think you're going to get better, certainly.
Yeah.
So maybe a little dip.
It worries me too, as a Ravens fan and somebody who suffered through the Ravens not having a legitimately good center since the Super Bowl year. Hopefully, this guy is at least a good center as far as snapping the ball goes.
Well, if you're a Bengals fan, but if you don't like the Bengals, then this is just fun, right?
Hopefully, this guy's terrible.
Hopefully, this guy will just snap the ball over Andy Dalton's head. It'll be great. I think it'll be fine. They'll be fine.
It's only 2 weeks, too, so they'll get him back soon. That's it for whatever we called that.
Quick reads.
Quick reads.
Yes.
Thank you, Roto World.
Yes, thank you, Roto World, for writing the podcast this week.
They're a great resource if you're a fantasy football player, by the way. If you don't know, rotoworld.com.
Yeah, it's overwhelming, the amount of
You can search any player. It's better if you're just searching players on your team. Type their name in, last name first. So annoying. Don't try and type their first name in first, or you won't get a result. And you will find out if they practiced, if they're injured, if they're fine, All right, this one's for all you Twitter fans out there. If you're listening to us and you happen to see our tweet about the winning word, we're going to be giving away a set of 4 Broken Plane coasters to one lucky follower, keyword follower.
A follower.
You must be following us on Twitter. We need to get to 200. We're at 199 right now.
We're very close.
So close.
Yeah.
200 followers. Once that hits, tweet at us anything you want, but make sure you include in your tweet the hashtag Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic.
You will win a set of the Broken Plane coasters.
If you give us your address.
You then have to provide us with your address or an address.
An address.
Yeah.
Send them to somebody else.
Work address.
Send them to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just pick somebody in the phone book and say that's the address you should ship these to.
If you don't know what the coasters look like, we've got a couple pictures of them on our Twitter page. I think the pinned tweet has the picture of them.
Yep.
So it'll be right at the top if you go to our Broken Plane, at the Broken Plane Twitter page.
Yep, that's right.
Fitzmagic, they'll be all yours.
Now we're going to recap the Great Big Broken Plane Fantasy Football League.
TGBBPFFL.
Nice. You're getting good at that. You been practicing?
Woo, yes.
Sweet.
All the time, whenever I'm driving.
Week 2, Game of the Week.
Game of the Week last week, the Gurdler versus Tomato Paste. Jonah versus Master Foshang. What I thought was going to be a great game ended up being the lowest scoring matchup of the week.
That was just ridiculous.
Master Foshang and Tomato Paste take it down 131.84 to 125.96.
It's close.
Close game.
Yeah.
Still good. The Gurdler, man, he made some bad choices. Let me tell you about this. He lost by 6 points. We'll call it 6 points.
Call it 6 points.
Kyle Rudolph on the bench in favor of Ben Watson of New Orleans. What are you doing?
10 points.
Bad decisions.
10 points on the bench, enough for the win. The other thing we talked about last week, his quarterback decision, Matt Stafford or Andrew Luck.
Mm-hmm.
He went with Luck, the winning QB.
You would have thought that would have been
Right?
the right choice to make.
Made the wrong choice.
Wrong choice.
Bad decisions.
Went with Luck, who had only 13 points.
You know, I watched that game too, and Luck looked really
It
good.
felt like he did better than he fantasically did.
Yeah, because he had some really timely passes. He had the one touchdown pass to Ebron.
Yeah.
And then
early in the game, too.
And I guess maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all they ran the ball quite a bit. Huh.
Yeah, Naheem Hines got that red zone touchdown.
And Stafford was in that weird game against San Francisco.
Yep.
It was just kind of
Came
all over
storming
the
back.
place. Huh. But Stafford ended up with 24.68.
Yep.
And
3
compared
touchdowns, no turnovers, and 300-plus yards.
compared to Luck's 13.36.
Yep.
That would have been enough.
Oh, Jonah. You'll do better this week. Jonah's 0-2.
0-2.
Yep.
I
Not good. We're not even 0-2.
I think we play him next week.
Yeah, we do.
I think Jonah might get healthy this week.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, like we were saying last week, we played Mark and the SD Alliance team, and
Yeah.
they looked good.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about Jonah. His team's looking good. And-
Nice. Yes.
Yeah, they're looking very good.
Me too.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This week's game of the week, week 3, HuntsField and McCoys versus LA's finest.
HuntsField and McCoys gets my award for best name.
That is a great name. And
love
he
that.
actually has Kareem Hunt and LaShawn McCoy.
Oh, does he?
Yes.
That's fantastic. Well drafted.
HuntsField is managed by Austin at @A_reg8. So if you want to find him and follow him.
Yes.
Rams fan versus another Rams fan, J5 at JAYFJVE, LA's finest. Top point getter of week 1. We'll see what he can do this week. Decisions to make. HuntsField and McCoy has LaShawn McCoy, of course, dealing with a rib cartilage injury, and he's on Buffalo. Does he play him, or does he take Dion Lewis into the starting position and find somebody else to fill the flex spot that Dion is currently in?
What do you think?
I don't know that I would ever start a Bill.
It's hard at this point in the season.
He is good,
And Minnesota's good.
but Minnesota's really good.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably benching McCoy.
I think I might. Decisions to make for LA's finest.
Oh, yes.
Kicker, Greg the Leg Zerline
Kicker.
is out. He's going
That's
to be out
right.
a couple of weeks. He's got a groin injury.
Yeah, they rolled with Johnny Hecker.
That's right. And Hecker
duties.
did he make
a short field goal and maybe
an extra point?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So who do you like that's available in free agency?
Well, I haven't looked recently, but last time I checked, Dan Bailey is still available.
Formerly of the Dallas Cowboys.
That's right. He got a job after the Vikings cut ties with Daniel Carlson, the rookie, lasted 2 games.
Which was enough.
Yeah, after he failed to secure the win against Green Bay, they said goodbye. And they have signed Dan Bailey. And Dan Bailey is statistically one of the best kickers to ever play in the NFL.
Statistically.
Yeah,
But
as far as conversion rate goes.
But there's a reason why Dallas let him go.
Because he was owed about $6 million.
Oh, is that the reason?
Yeah, I think that was the main reason. I think they wanted the money back.
That could be. That could be. So Dan Bailey would be your pick if he's available?
I think if Dan Bailey's there, we had to get rid of our kicker because we had Dan Carlson.
Yeah.
But can't get Dan Bailey. He's the opposite of a young chicken.
He is.
A spring chicken.
You know who might be available is Roberto Aguayo.
I don't think he's on the team, though.
Damn it.
Unless you were talking about for Cleveland.
No, Cleveland signed somebody.
We signed who Cleveland signed.
Who did Cleveland sign?
A young man by the name of Greg Joseph. I think that's his name. It's just the most generic name ever. He played for Florida Atlantic for 4 years, and he tried
out in Miami.
Yeah, he was with Miami over the summer and stuff.
Okay.
So he looks like he's got a shot. We're rolling with him because that's what we do.
Okay.
We survived. We won heartily. I'll give a shout out to us right now because we're on to that part of the show. Shout outs!
Woo!
We scored the most points this week. Our ragtag band of sophomores and a couple of rookies.
We went far and above what I thought we would ever hit.
We hit that because we made the right calls. We put Patty Mahomes in on his historic 6-touchdown game.
Yeah.
And we also played Matt Breida. Picked up like 30 points and 132 yards or something like that.
Yep. We had 4 players go for 30 points.
Yeah. Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep. And
Mad Skills,
Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
14 catches.
It's amazing.
That was all his points right there.
So, yeah,
20 yards rushing. So that's great. Other shout-outs, more importantly, shout-out to the undefeated teams, the 2-0s. Let's talk about 6 Brady.
Wait, you got to sing it.
No.
Let's talk about 6 Brady.
There we go. Thank you. I'll let you do it.
Oh, come on now. That's fantastic.
Maybe next week. Managed by Tracy at Cora Beans with a Z.
With a Z. Beans.
Yeah. HuntsField and McCoys, managed by Austin.
2-0.
Yep. And Tomato Paste at Master Foshang. At Fashiggles.
Fashiggles.
I think his name is Frederick. Freddie.
I like Fashiggles.
Freddie Fashiggles.
Can I go with? That's nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's the fantasy league. The Great Big Broken Plain Fantasy Football League.
Let's move right into Stardom or Sit 'em.
That's right. We got a new segment going on here again. This time, we have solicited questions from our followers, and they have obliged for once.
We got feedback.
And it wasn't Jonah.
It's been good.
Yeah. Fan of the week, Gio. He wants to know, do I start Matt Stafford at home versus New England on Sunday Night Football?
Uh-huh.
Or do I throw Carson Wentz into the fire Week 3 against Indianapolis? What do you think, JB?
You know, my gut reaction is to play Matty Stafford, just because Carson Wentz you don't know where he is.
Right, first game back.
Yeah, and I think that New England's defense is soft. After watching what they did in Jacksonville this last week,
4 touchdowns for Bortles.
I think they're soft.
Yeah.
So I think that Stafford should be able to move the ball on them. I don't know what Carson Wentz is going to be doing, so why would I take the chance?
What I looked at first was, how has Matt Stafford performed on Sunday Night Football?
Okay.
And what I found was not promising. 0-6.
Okay.
6 Sunday Night Football games,
Seriously?
0 wins.
0-6?
Yes.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yikes. Then I looked at what his record is against New England. He only played him once, a loss, 9-34.
Okay, but he only played him once, so that's a small sample size.
Anything could happen.
Throw that
there.
out. I don't want it.
It's gone.
Okay, gone.
So then what did I look at? Who are they playing this week?
Okay.
The most obvious thing to look at. Indy's playing Philly. They've allowed 243 and 292 yards in the air. They've done pretty well overall. I've been surprised with Indianapolis' defense. They've been getting some sacks, too.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz coming back from an injury. Philly's not playing that well. Is it Foles? Is it the team?
Hard to say.
New England, on the other hand, they had a pretty good game against Deshaun Watson week 1, but it looked like Deshaun wasn't ready, and Bill O'Brien's an idiot. So I'm fine with that. I can wipe that away. You throw that out just like you throw away Stafford's game against New England.
Okay.
They allowed, like you said, 377 and 4 touchdowns to Bortles.
Mm-hmm.
To Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
Stafford's better than Bortles. I don't care what we saw against the Jets week 1.
And Bortles ran wild.
Yes.
He ran wild on New England.
Not that Stafford has any real scrambling ability. But
I'm just saying.
So I think I agree with you. The only thing I could find in support of Carson Wentz week 1, well, his week 1, he is undefeated in games when returning from a torn ACL and LCL combo.
And yeah, okay, all right.
So if you're into that,
hey, legit,
I would play Wentz, but otherwise, JB and I recommend Stafford. Start Stafford.
Okay.
Next up, Scott, another new follower. Love this guy. Been very helpful. Been very communicative. At JS_Leach. He has a trade question he wants to know.
All right.
I checked in with him to make sure that we weren't going to put him out by having him wait another couple of days before he hears the answer.
Okay.
He said it was fine.
Okay.
He wants to know, should he trade Devontae Freeman for Allen Robinson, the third wide receiver for the Chicago Bears? What's the first thing you want to know?
The first thing I want to know is who else does he have at running back?
Okay.
Who is he starting right now?
He has David Johnson and Saquon Barkley as well, and that was all I was told. So he may have another running back or two on the roster, but
Okay.
as far as we are aware, David Johnson, Saquon Barkley, and Devontae Freeman.
Boy. You know, if you had offered me this trade before the season started, that's tempting. Who's he got at wide receiver?
Wide receiver. This might be why he's looking to upgrade. He's got Brandon Cooks, which is a nice number one option.
Go Beavs.
Yes, go Beavs. How did I forget that?
I don't know.
Oh, my God. He does have Tyler Lockett, who's got 2 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks, so that's good, but that surely won't last.
I wouldn't think so.
And then he's got Kenny Golladay, who we like.
Yeah.
But same thing, 3 mouths to feed there. Might not get a touch every week.
So it might be good to have a number one receiver,
Right.
even on a team, the Bears, that haven't proven that they can
Right, the
use
offense
him
isn't clicking
well.
totally yet. He did pick up 10
Yeah.
catches last week against Seattle, though.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that's a step in the right
if
direction.
he's in a PPR league, which I don't know if he is or not. I don't know if, Scott, if you're in a PPR league. If you're in a PPR league, I think Allen Robinson is a better play because I don't think Devontae catches a lot of balls either.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I think because I'm the idiot here.
Okay.
I'm the fantasy nincompoop. I don't really understand how any of this works. I would be scared to only have David Johnson and Saquon Barkley. To me, I don't. The last 2 weeks, Arizona's offense has shown that they're not very good. So to give away Devontae Freeman, even though he's not, I don't think he's playing right now. Is he? Is
No,
he hurt?
Freeman's out for 1 to 2 more weeks, I believe, and he didn't play last week either.
Okay, with Freeman not playing, I think I do pull the trigger. I think I would pull the trigger because having a receiver who's playing games now is better than having a running back who's sitting on the bench not doing anything.
I think so too. I'm still optimistic that the Cardinals can turn this around at least a little bit. We've had Wilkes come out and say that they want to get David the ball more. I think they just need to figure out how to get him involved in the passing game a little bit more, how to get him out wide, whether that be through quick passes or just sending him out wide on runs, or faking the handoff and then tossing it to him out in the flat like the Rams do with Gurley, and just letting him do it after the defense is sort of broken apart a little bit.
It worries me a little bit because the Arizona Cardinals got across the 50-yard line one time against the Rams.
Not good.
I think it was the last play of the game. It was one time they got across 50. It was bad, man. So, I mean, I don't know. But is that just the Rams? Are the Rams that good, or are the Cardinals that pitiful? Probably a combination.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. I think they need to get, I don't know, maybe Rosen looks really bad, but I think they need to get Rosen out there quicker than they are. Yeah.
Maybe. Also,
Bradford does not look good.
Also, on the other side of that, I don't know that I trust Sarkisian even now to put a decent offense together. So I don't even, if Freeman comes back, who knows if he's going to be able to get points.
That's true. The only other bit of, I don't know what you want to call this, advice that I would offer to Scott on his team. I like this trade, but I do want you to go pick up another running back if that's an option. If you already have another running back on your roster and he is a timeshare guy, or if you can go get somebody off of free agency like Austin Eckler, or maybe pick up Mark Walton, who is going to be playing a few weeks in Cincinnati now that Joe Mixon is out. That's another one. Corey Clement, maybe he's not owned in all these leagues. I'm not sure how deep you're playing in. If you can get somebody, though, who's already shown that they can get touches, I would go ahead and pull the trigger on this trade. I think Allen Robinson's an every week starter, and you can probably get by with David Johnson and Saquon Barkley.
That's a nice little pro tip there.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Thank you. So that's for you, Scott. Hopefully you can make... I don't know. I wonder if he's had this trade proposed to him or if he's proposing the trade and wants to know if he should actually go ahead and send this trade to the owner of Allen Robinson.
This seems like kind of a weird trade for somebody else to propose. Why would you propose a trade for somebody who's not playing?
That's why I'm surprised.
So...
If somebody's offering to take an injured running back off your hands, they must be really desperate.
Yeah.
I'm fine with this trade if you're proposing it and it doesn't go through. It's still great to have Devontae Freeman in a couple weeks when he comes back. Last one is kind of a twofer. Brad, another new follower. Love all these new followers. Thank you for getting us so close to 200. I didn't think we were going to get there.
You know, it took us all season last year to get to 100.
We weren't doing it right.
No.
I wasn't doing it right.
Well, yeah, no.
I figured it out finally. I'm old, so it's okay. How am I supposed to know how to use Twitter? Brad, at LA_Rambling Bear, another Rams fan we've added to the fan base.
They're everywhere.
I tried to get on there, and I asked explicitly for Seahawk fans.
Yeah.
Nobody came.
They all laughed at you.
They are the most ornery bunch of jerks I've ever met in my life.
That sounds
Not
like
a fan
us.
of Seahawks Twitter.
That's us.
Not a fan of Seahawks Twitter.
You know what? We got a lot of trolls on fantasy on Seahawks Twitter too.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people who don't understand how football works.
That's true.
I'm looking at those guys going, "That's not realistic."
Yep.
Anyway,
Brad wants to know.
L.A. Rambling Bear.
Yes.
Nice.
Do I play Josh Gordon this week? Now, in case you hadn't heard,
In case you're living under a rock.
Josh Gordon was traded to the New England Patriots.
Well,
of
no,
all
wait a
teams.
minute. Hold on, TK.
What?
I thought he was waived.
Well,
I thought they were going to waive him.
No. That's not how the Browns do things.
Who's the GM for Cleveland?
It's John Dorsey.
John Dorsey.
He seems like he's actually knows what he's doing.
He
ran-
he put out a release that said they just couldn't stand by him anymore,
Oh.
and they were going to release him. But then they didn't because it turns out
There's
that
a market for him.
there's a market for him. Yeah, so they trade him. And who comes calling? Of course,
Of course, it's the Patriots.
the Patriots come calling because that's what happens when bad teams give up on talent.
I wouldn't you rather just say no and not get the 5th round pick
You know what?
than give another player to the
The
Patriots?
terms of the trade are sketchy for the Browns.
Yeah.
I understand that you want to get something in return, and that's fine. The trade was made Josh Gordon and a conditional. What is it? It's Josh Gordon to the Patriots, a 5th-round pick from the Patriots to Cleveland.
Yeah.
If Josh Gordon plays in 10 or more games.
If he's active, yeah.
If he's active for 10 or more games, then there is a...
Conditional 7th?
No, I have that backwards. I'm sorry.
Oh.
If he doesn't play,
Oh, okay.
if Josh Gordon is not active for 10 games, then Cleveland sends a 7th-round pick back to New England.
Okay.
So you're basically, if Josh Gordon doesn't play, you're swapping picks for the opportunity to test drive Josh Gordon out for a season. Does that make sense?
No.
Why would you do that? And I'm not saying that they're division rivals, but they're in the same conference.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Cleveland's going to go to the playoffs this year. But this is such a Browns thing to do. I don't understand this at all. I really don't understand this at all.
The faces change, but the story stays the same. Is it the song stays the same? It stays the same.
Yes.
Cleveland stays the same.
I don't understand it. What else I don't understand is, there's so much I don't understand about Cleveland. There was one more bit of Cleveland news. While we're bad-mouthing Cleveland, because I'm going to bad-mouth Cleveland
Yeah, that's
a
right.
little bit.
You do it.
Zane Gonzalez, the kicker,
That's right.
apparently he was kicking with a hurt groin. Sometimes that happens.
Who knew?
Kickers get hurt.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes.
Especially in the groin.
He didn't do very well.
No.
He was having some problems. Turns out in the press conference on, I think it was Monday, Hugh Jackson comes out and says, I had no idea Zane Gonzalez was hurt. No idea. The medical staff didn't tell me anything. I knew nothing about the player on my team who was missing field goals, about him being hurt. I knew nothing. No idea. Okay, let's unpack this for a second, shall we?
Yes.
If he wasn't told, if Zane Gonzalez pulled a groin and didn't tell anybody, which is a thing that could have happened, is the right thing to do go to the press and say, I have no idea, no earthly idea what's happening with the health of my players.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't my fault. I kept trotting the hurt guy out there, but it wasn't my fault because I didn't know. Is that the right thing to do?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
Just keep quiet.
If he told somebody on the medical staff and the medical staff didn't tell the head coach, is the right thing to do then at a press conference for the head coach to come out and say, my medical staff didn't tell me anything?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because that's what he did.
Just fire him.
Don't you?
Let it
Let
go.
me ask you this.
It'll come out that way.
If this happened in New England,
No. What?
what would Bill Belichick do? Does Bill Belichick say, well, today the medical staff didn't inform me that Stephen Gurkowski had a pulled groin, so I had no idea? No. Bill Belichick says nothing. Nothing. And then people ask him, why is the medical staff packing their bags? And Bill Belichick says, they decided to pursue other opportunities around the league. But that's what I'm saying, though. This is the amount of, oh, no, it's not my fault that I'm seeing from the Cleveland Browns is really impressive. Between this whole thing with Zane Gonzalez and now this thing with Josh Gordon.
I'm speechless.
Josh Gordon, the reason that he's in hot water this time, not the first time with Josh Gordon, in case you haven't heard, he earlier this year, I think in the preseason, he had a hamstring injury that he was trying to rehab and play through. He wasn't on the injury list this last week.
They took him off.
They took him off for week 2, leading into week 2.
Yeah.
Apparently he practiced fine. Then he went out to a photo shoot for his clothing line, showed up Saturday morning with a pulled hammy. And apparently he was also acting strange. And apparently this was the last straw for Cleveland. Now, let me be perfectly honest with you. I understand that it's the last straw for Josh Gordon. The Cleveland Browns have done a lot for this guy.
Yeah.
I get it. You don't want the guy there anymore. I understand.
Fine.
I'm fine. You don't put out a statement saying, we've done all we can for Josh Gordon, but he just keeps screwing up, and it really hurts our feelings. We have to cut bait now before he hurts us anymore. No, you don't do that. You just trade him. Trade him. That's all you've got to do.
Yeah, nobody's going to question you. They'll wonder, why is he being traded?
How much value did Josh Gordon lose when they put that statement out?
Well, he only went for a fifth.
Could they have gotten more for him?
They could have gotten more for him.
I don't know if they could have or not, because let's face it, Josh Gordon hasn't played football since 2013.
He caught a touchdown pass.
Last week.
Yeah.
One target, one catch, one touchdown.
He still got it, baby.
But, I mean, it's just the stupidest thing in the world. Come
Yeah.
on, Cleveland, you're killing me. You're just killing me. I want so badly to like you. But, again, I go back to Toby Ziegler in the West Wing. Be a Yankees fan, son. It's just easier.
You know what the Browns need to do?
What's that?
They need to just get out of town. There's something about that city. They need to get everybody out of management that is in that team out, completely new. Sell the team, new ownership, new president, new GM, new coaching staff. Keep the players. The players are fine. The players are not the problem.
A lot of talent.
I have decided the players are not the problem.
I agree.
Bring that team to Portland. The Portland Greens. Nice green helmet with a tree stripe down the middle. 4-12 every year. I'll be fine.
That's fantastic. You know what? That's a good color scheme too. Green helmet with a brown stripe.
Yeah.
That's perfect. The Portland Greens.
And a little green tree at the back.
Little tree.
That's the tuft of
like
leaves at the top.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Anyway. That was good stuff, though. I like that.
I don't know if
I
it
think
was
people
good
appreciate
or not,
that.
but
people,
geez,
if
Browns.
you're listening, if you're still listening and you liked the rant, please let us know. I liked it. But JB, he needs confirmation that what he does is good stuff.
Someone's got to be patting me on the head, or it's just not worthwhile.
It's good stuff.
It's just not
That's
worthwhile.
good stuff.
So I guess the question is, should he start or sit Josh Gordon
Yes.
in New England?
Well, this was a two-part question because he has two teams with Josh Gordon on them.
Oh, okay.
So, roster one, they're both PPR leagues.
Okay.
Roster one, he's got at wide receiver Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, so that's great.
Yeah.
He's got your starters covered.
Yeah.
But this is a two-flex team. So he's also got Quincy Enunwa, who we like. Good matchup this week. We like the Jets anyway. Sam Darnold's amazing. Rookie of the year.
Call it.
He also has Mike Williams, Big Mike in L.A., Austin Pettis, and then Josh Gordon.
Yeah, I don't know that I put Josh Gordon in.
This is the team. Carlos Hyde, Alfred Morris, Naheem Hines, and then he's got Jared Cook, our other legitimate options for starting this weekend. Do you play Josh Gordon, or do you play Mike Williams versus the Rams secondary? Austin Pettis, with Marquise Goodwin probably coming back. That might bring Pettis' potential down.
Yeah.
Do you play Carlos Hyde? That's the Thursday night game, so he has to apparently time travel if we're going to recommend that, because this isn't coming out till Friday. I don't like Alfred Morris anymore. I didn't really like him to begin with, but I was right in believing that Matt Breida was going to steal the job.
Yeah.
I think he's about to do that for sure.
I think he is too, and until Matt Breida goes down, which I think will probably happen
How
at some
dare
point.
you?
Well, just because he's a running back in the NFL, and they go down, right?
Yeah, I think he was injured already this year.
And I think Alfred Morris is a great fill-in. And
Yeah.
I think if he gets touches, he's going to be good.
Yeah.
But he's not going to get touches with Breida in front of him.
Naheem Hines, do you play him?
I don't even know who
Third
that is.
running
Who's
back
that?
in Indianapolis?
No, I don't play
No.
that. No.
He picked up a lucky touchdown this weekend, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's in line for big numbers.
I think what you've got to look at is where Josh Gordon is listed right now on the depth chart. He's listed behind Philip Dorsett.
Right.
And then what you have to consider is last week, how many targets did Dorsett get? I only counted one deep threat, and that ball was overthrown, and I don't even think it was overthrown. It was out of bounds. Phil Dorsett had a chance at it, but no, he didn't catch it. So I think what it comes down to is targets. And what you have to decide is Josh Gordon going to get enough opportunities to make plays? If you force feed him the ball, I think he will. And I think that might be something that happens. I'm just not sure it happens this week.
I'm leaning towards the Jared Cook playing Miami. They don't have the strongest linebacking corp that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
They've given up decent tight end yards despite playing some bad tight end teams in New York and Tennessee. Delaney Walker did a little bit before going down. I think Jared Cook will be used against Miami. I think he has a chance to put up some decent numbers, catch a few balls, and catch a touchdown. So especially if Josh Gordon doesn't play, because the hamstring is still in play for him, he might not make it in this week.
He's fully practicing right now.
That's true.
So I would
Still plenty of time to tweak it.
There's still plenty of time, but I'd be stunned if he's inactive for this game. I think for sure he's going to be active.
So do you play him?
The roster again? Who the team that Mike Williams is on? Because if Mike Williams is a starter, I don't know that I play him against
the Rams.
Yeah, I don't like that
That's
matchup.
a tough call
because the Rams are deep. Not deep, but they're strong in their secondary.
Williams hasn't had big targets either in either week so far.
So I don't like the matchup. So if that was the case, I would prefer to see Gordon against the Detroit secondary. I think there's some potential there. I just don't know if he's going to get the opportunity just because of targets. He's only been there 5 days, 4 days, whatever it is. I don't know if he's even going to be on the field for 15 plays. I
question how much Belichick will use him straight away.
It's going to be a matter of a couple of weeks, though, I think.
Yeah.
I think the question was, what was it? How did he word it?
He says, am I going to hate myself for leaving him on the bench and watching him go for 8 to 10 catches?
Well, I'm going to just say this. If he goes for 8 to 10 catches, yeah, you're going to hate yourself.
Exactly.
Because it's going to he's certainly capable of doing that. I just don't think he will. If Mike Williams was my other choice, I think I would start him over Mike Williams, but it sounds like he's got better choices on the bench, yeah?
Yeah, I like Jared Cook.
Yeah.
And I like Quincy Enunwa. I think you stay with him as the other flex spot.
I think so, yeah.
Stay away from those other guys.
Yeah.
Keep them on your bench.
And in the one flex league?
Yes, roster 2, 1 flex. He's got Juju and Calvin Ridley as his starters right now.
Okay, good starters.
And then he's got John Ross, Austin Pettis again, and Josh Gordon again. His flex is fine. He's got Phillip Lindsay in there. Even against Baltimore, I think I'd play him over the question mark that is Gordon this week.
I would for sure. But
so the choice is really, I don't think we're going to play John Ross yet.
No.
He did not look good against Baltimore. Maybe he'll step it up against Carolina a little bit this weekend, but I think still it's coming down to between Gordon or do you leave Ridley in there. And for me, I'm leaning Ridley. Leave Ridley in. Ridley stepped up a little bit more. He looked like he was a little more involved in week 2 versus week 1. They're playing New Orleans this weekend. That's probably going to be a shootout.
It should be a really good game. It should be a lot of fun to watch.
So they could lean on Ridley a little bit more.
Yep.
He could pick up some extra targets, which would be good for the PPR. That's where I'm leaning.
Ditto. Yeah, I'm going to go with what you said exactly. That seems right to me. So sit Josh Gordon. It hurts me. I love Josh Gordon, but this is just not the week.
That's that. If you have a question that you want to hear about, a roster question, a trade question, a free agency question, those are going to be kind of hard because we come out on Fridays. So if you're trying to put a waiver out for somebody,
yeah,
that's not going to work.
If you do have a question though, don't feel free to hit us up and
that's
we can
right.
get back
We'll
to
just
you.
answer questions on Twitter.
Yeah.
Let us know if you want us to have your question on the show.
You say we.
Yeah.
You say you.
I consult you.
You.
Yeah. You can help.
I'm just going to tell all our ones and ones of listeners. I'm not very good with fantasy picks, so if you're looking to me for advice, you might want to look somewhere.
We'll get into that more later. Right
All
now,
right.
though,
it's time for Lose the Farm.
Gets you every time.
That was awesome. We're going to go through the list of games this week. We've got new lines. We're not using Yahoo lines anymore.
We moved on. We're doing Vegas. I forget what it's
Vegas
called.
Insider.
VegasInsider.com.
So these are lines from VegasInsider.com. I think it's a little more consistent. Here we go. You ready?
No.
First,
I want to know what happened last week.
Oh, do we really have to go? Do we have to talk about last week's games?
Yeah, it's going to be quick.
Okay.
First of all, we had Green Bay. We had Green Bay at a 0 line.
Yes.
Which I thought, being the expert gambler that I am, meant that at a tie, it didn't matter who we picked. We both were right. But no, you say it's a push.
Well, that's what a push means, right? We get our money back.
So the game didn't count. We were not wrong, so we don't get a loss, but we don't get a win either.
Yes.
So we only have 15 results this week instead of 16 because of that darn tie.
Yeah, and if you're a gambling aficionado and you want to call BS on us for that,
please school us.
Because we weren't really sure.
And we're not looking it up because it doesn't matter.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
So JB ended up with 7-8.
Ugh.
I ended up with 9-6. Heyo.
Not bad.
And we are now tied 15-16 overall record over the first 2 weeks of the season.
Nicely done. Was there one pick that you had that you were especially proud of this week?
Well, I did say that you should not be picking Baltimore because they will always lose when they go to Cincinnati, and they did, oh boy, did they lose.
Yeah, they did. That's right. The one pick that I was surprised by the most, we both picked New Orleans. They were -10.
That's right.
And New Orleans won that game, but not by much.
And they
probably
lost it.
shouldn't have.
Yeah.
So I was
Rest in
surprised.
peace, Zane Gonzalez.
That's too bad. It's always sad to see a kicker. Of course, he should lose his job. He absolutely should lose his job. But it's tough. Have you ever taken a tee down to the local high school?
How does Zane Gonzalez not have a job, but Nathan Peterman is still employed?
It's a conundrum.
Who is technically worse? We were looking at this. Nate Peterman has the worst career interception percentage ratio of any quarterback ever.
Yeah.
Over 10%.
Yeah, that means that more than 1 out of 10 passes he throws ends up in the other team's hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's amazing.
So bad.
And he's employed.
The only thing we didn't count was wide receivers, running backs, tight ends that throw one pass once and it's picked off. That doesn't count.
For quarterbacks.
Yeah.
For people
quarterbacks who have started, I think I put the minimum at 40 pass attempts. So it's not even like we're getting a lot of seasoned veterans. We're getting a lot of bad quarterbacks in this list too. And Nathan Peterman is the worst of the worst.
By far.
And of course he's a Bill because they suck too.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, week 3, what do we got?
Let's start off with a Thursday night game. Cleveland is favored at home.
What?
Cleveland at home, favored by 3.
But Cleveland's 0-1-1.
Cleveland at home,
The Jets are
favored
1-1.
against the Jets by 3.
Cleveland is going for their first win in 19 tries.
That's right.
Their second win, wait for it, in 37 tries.
Yeah, the last time they won a game, December 2016.
And before that, 2015.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yowza.
The last time they won a game, Robert Griffin III. Isn't that great? That's fantastic.
So bad. Cleveland also hasn't beaten the Jets since 2007. Granted, they don't play a lot, but that's
No.
I think that's still 5 or 6 games.
2007?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a career.
Yep.
Good grief. Who do you got?
I'm taking the Jets.
After all this grief that I'm giving Cleveland, I'm taking Cleveland. And,
They've hung tough the last 2 weeks.
this is a spite pick for me.
Yeah.
Because deep down, I think the reason they're going to win this game is to show me up. So I'm trying to outthink them.
Oh, okay.
So this is how I gamble, and this is why I lose a lot. So I'm taking Cleveland.
Solid strategy.
Yeah. Atlanta favored over New Orleans. Atlanta at home, over New Orleans, Atlanta by 3.
I'm going with Atlanta. I looked at their most recent matchups. Atlanta tends to win at home. It tends to be a bigger margin. This is what that needs to be. Atlanta by 3. I think they can get it by more.
Yeah, New Orleans hasn't impressed me defensively. I don't think they can stop anybody.
Yeah.
So I think it is going to be a shootout, but I think as New Orleans has shown, they are prone to giving up points. I think that Atlanta will score enough to beat that 3 points.
Sounds about right.
Okay, Kansas City at home against San Francisco. Kansas City by 6.5.
Well, you asked me this at the beginning of the season, and I think I'm going with San Francisco here, but I'm on board with Patty Mahomes.
Okay,
No problem.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Miami at home against Oakland. Miami is favored by 3.
This one was tough initially. I had to think about this one first. I had to logic myself.
Okay.
Oakland looked okay. Derek Carr had a great game. I think
Yeah.
he was like 29 for 32 or something
Against Denver. Yeah.
on the road. So why not another on-the-road game against a team that I don't really believe is as good as their 2-0 record?
Yeah, that's the way to think about it.
But then you look at West Coast team flying to the East for a morning game.
Yeah.
And you think, well, the only time that turns out to be a win is when you're playing Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Miami.
I thought pretty much exactly what you did. I think that the Raiders, in the 2 games they played, they had the one pretty good half against L.A.
Really good half.
And then they kind of fell apart. But again, against Denver, they looked really good. And I was concerned because the Raiders got up in that game, and then they gave up a lead to lose. So I was thinking to myself, they kind of just deflated in the second half. But watching the game, I don't think they did. They didn't execute as well as they could have, but they didn't just give it away. So I'm kind of in the same boat you are. I think they're probably a little bit better team than their record indicates.
Yeah.
I don't think Miami is 2-0 good.
Mm-mm.
I think those wins are suspect. But again, you're flying from the West Coast to the East Coast, and this is the kind of game that the Oakland Raiders would lose just to bother me again. So I'm taking Miami. I'm second-guessing myself again.
I like it.
Taking the favorite by 3.
You'll
okay.
be fine. You'll be fine.
Minnesota at home against Buffalo. Minnesota favored by 16.5.
Always pick against Buffalo. Minnesota, no problem.
That's a big line.
Doesn't matter.
16.5.
They lost their first game by like 40.
Okay. I'm also taking Minnesota.
Yeah.
Philadelphia at home against Indianapolis. Philadelphia by 6.5.
I believe in Carson Wentz. I'm not recommending him for fantasy, But I believe in Carson Wentz.
The Church of Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
You believe in Carson Wentz and all of the ACLs and MCLs.
I was
and
all
ECLs.
there. I was there last year. Everybody laughed at me.
We did. I did. Yes. And you're there again.
I'm back.
Okay.
He's back. I'm back.
I'm also taking Philly.
That's right.
Washington at home against Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 3.
Ooh, one of the only away teams favored this week.
Mm-hmm.
No problem, Green Bay.
Green Bay.
As long as Aaron Rodgers is playing, I'm taking him.
I will say this.
Not as long as it, but
I will say this. I watched the Colts Washington game, and I was more impressed than I thought I would be with Washington's offense. I think Alex Smith's doing a really good job fitting in there, and they've been performing better than I thought they would. So there's that.
I don't like their wide receivers.
Okay, I can see that.
After seeing Kirk Cousins with Thielen and Diggs, I think they were holding him back in Washington.
That could be.
Doxson and Crowder are not impressive to me. Jordan Reed being back is a godsend for Alex Smith.
For as long as he's healthy.
And Chris Thompson, because if it was just Doxson and Crowder and no Chris Thompson and no Jordan Reed, Washington would be in big trouble.
Yeah. Well, they're getting good play from Adrian Peterson, too.
That's true.
Which is fun to watch.
Yeah.
But still, I'm taking Green Bay.
Yes.
Carolina at home against Cincinnati. Carolina by 3.
This is my upset pick this week.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals.
The Bungles.
Despite the loss of Billy Price and Joe Mixon.
You got to take it to
losses.
Take it to the Panthers.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like this Cincinnati team. I think their defense is great. I still don't really like what Carolina's doing, even though they're winning games.
It is kind of weird to watch.
Yeah.
I'm picking Carolina because the Bungles.
Because they're the Bengals.
They
have to lose. They have to finish 8-8 somehow.
Got to win 8. Got to lose 8 games.
They're not going to win the first 8 and lose the last 8.
No.
Got to mix it up.
Got to mix it up. Jacksonville at home against Tennessee. Jacksonville favored by 6.5. Now this is the one where Yahoo didn't have the line, and clearly it's not going to be even. Jacksonville's favored by 6.5 because they went out and they beat not a super great Patriots team, but certainly a solid Patriots team last week. And honestly, they did it in fairly convincing fashion. I think that they
looked good to me.
Yeah, they looked pretty good. And you know how much I love Blake Bortles. He looked fine, right? He did all of the Blake Bortles things he needs to do to carry that team to a win, which means he had to run for first downs all the time because he can't throw a 10-yard out. I think they win. Definitely.
I'm still not sure if Mariota's playing this week. If it's Blaine Gabbert, there's no way he wins 2 in a row.
What was the line about Mike Vrabel telling them with Blaine Gabbert in, telling them to run the ball?
Yeah, he said he wanted to run the ball. The plan was to run the ball 40 times, and fans were apparently yelling at Matt LaFleur, the offensive coordinator, saying, "Why are you not passing on first down? Why do you want Blaine Gabbert to throw the ball at all?
Yeah,
first down, fourth down, just run the ball."
And if
you're lucky you won that game, Tennessee. You should shut up about the game plan.
Well, they had it exactly right in the article. It's hard to run the ball 40 times if you don't run the ball on first down.
Exactly.
So you need to run the ball on first down. Don't worry, Matt LaFleur he's going to be your pass guru.
He will be
one
fine
day.
Once Mariota gets healthy or when you finally get a quarterback that is healthy.
I'm a little concerned about Mariota because the injury that he's got. We follow, what's the name of that doctor?
David J. Chow, MD, at Pro Football Doc.
He was talking about this a little bit, and what he said was that with the way that they're reporting the injury, it sounds like he doesn't have feeling in one of his hands, and there's a couple of different nerve injuries that can happen. One of them, he said, is fine. You don't need feeling in your ring finger and your little finger apparently to throw a football. But the other injury that they're worried about actually affects the throwing strength. You lose strength throwing the ball if it's that kind of an injury. So they were saying that it could be either one. If it's the one that you lose strength throwing the ball, that's a problem because it's also grip strength, so you can't hold on to the football as well. That one can take several weeks to heal.
Yeah, this tweet here from Alex Twist, at Alexander Twist, says, apparently Mariota has weakness in the whole hand and has strummed, in quotes, the nerve. And then Chow replies, this is exactly what I was expecting from the ulnar nerve. Full thoughts posted soon, story into editor. So look for more from at Pro Football Doc.
Yeah.
If you want to find out more about the Mariota story.
This guy is fantastic on Twitter. It's really interesting information he's putting out. So I would be happy if all of you went out there and followed him right now.
Yeah, he's a former NFL head team doctor for 17 plus years.
Yeah.
And he's got a show on Sirius XM radio.
Oh man,
Great stuff.
He's got a podcast too that is just this side of unlistenable. I forget what it's called. I've subscribed to it because I'm just a glutton for punishment. It's really good information, really hard to listen
Really
to.
dry.
He needs to find someone to do the technical side of podcasting for him because it's hard. He sounds like we do on our first episode when we had like the one mic.
David, I'm talking to you right now. You hear this? We're just two idiots in a shed.
It's a beautiful shed.
But this sounds delicious,
It
doesn't
does.
it? This is silky smooth. My voice is like Barry White. Oh, yeah. You know you want us to help you out.
We'll do it.
We'll do it for very cheaply.
Very cheaply.
Very much the cheaply. And I know you're a rich doctor.
Well, he's unemployed, I
You
think.
can afford it. He's still rich.
Okay. He's got that football money.
Yeah.
That football talk money he rolls around in. I'm not sure that's a thing.
Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck. Nice. Anyway,
Jacksonville. Yeah.
Okay. Baltimore at home against Denver. Baltimore favored by 5.5.
Oh, dear God. This is exactly the type of game that Baltimore would lose.
This is exactly the kind of game that good teams win.
This is what they should win. If they lose this game, I will be choosing another AFC team.
Wow.
Until Harbaugh is gone.
Okay, that's fair.
And the rest of the coaching staff.
Yeah, that's hard. Harbaugh has done a great job there for a long time, but I feel kind of like the same way with him as I do about Tomlin. It's probably time that they move on.
The main problem with Harbaugh is they don't force that he gets to keep choosing his offensive coordinators. Because he just keeps bringing in retread guys that have not been successful anywhere else, and he just keeps picking his guys.
This is different this year, right? Aside from the Cincinnati game, which kind of got away from them a little bit.
They beat the worst team in the history of the NFL
by a lot.
Yeah.
That's something. They beat the Bills by a bunch in week 1.
Yeah.
And then they lost.
Then they lost the game that they should have won.
They probably should have beat Cincinnati.
Did you watch that game?
Yeah.
The last drive? What the heck were they doing?
I don't know. That was
enough to make me want to hate them right there.
You know what I noticed most about that game, and this is just one of those things. This doesn't matter at all. But what I noticed from that game, did you see Lamar Jackson on the sideline smiling?
Yep.
During the second half when they were behind, and as the game was finishing up, Lamar Jackson on the sideline smiling.
Do you think he was just like, "Oh yeah, baby, I'm getting in here sooner than we thought"?
I think I might have been saying that if I was. I could see myself being on the sideline going, you know what, lost a game and that kind of sucks, but it's not my fault that we lost a game.
Yeah, that's
maybe
true.
I might get the game.
Oh boy,
it was like
you better learn how to throw first, buddy.
It's like it was rough.
Baltimore.
I'm choosing Baltimore. They bounce back.
You can't not pick them here.
Houston at home against the Giants. Houston favored by 6.
A couple of 0-2 teams.
So who's going to be 0-3?
Wow. This one's tough for me. I like a lot of the pieces that New York has, but they haven't looked up to the part yet of an NFL team.
No, and they went on the road last week to Dallas.
Sorry, Gio.
And they didn't play well.
Yeah. They did okay against Jacksonville, which was surprising. I thought they were going to get shut out a little bit more. Not shut out, but shut down a little bit more.
Yeah, they were at home though, and I think that helps a lot. And again, this week they're traveling to Houston.
That's right.
So I'm taking Houston.
Got to go with Houston.
Houston by
Still
6.
love Deshaun.
Rams. This is going to be a fun one. Rams at home against the Chargers at home.
Somehow there will just be Chiefs fans there.
So it's in Rams are home. Chargers are coming into the Rams.
Yep.
And the Rams are favored by 7. I don't know how it's only 7.
It seems low.
It seems really low. I'm taking the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams.
Okay. Arizona at home against Chicago. Chicago favored by 6. This is the other game where the visiting team is favored.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Can we jump back for a second to this Rams game?
Oh, yes.
We did get a last-minute submission from J5, our buddy.
All right.
He wants to know, how are the Rams not the favorite to win the Super Bowl at this point? Do you think they are?
I guess I would say, who are you talking to that they're not the favorite? Who's favored?
I don't know. This is just what he asked me. So maybe he just wants to know if we think they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
No, I think hands down. I think the Rams are the favorite. And
they look really good.
The only thing about the Rams that would make me question them a little bit, they have not won a playoff game yet. Well, not ever, but I mean, it's not in recent memory.
Yeah.
They have not won a playoff game yet. Last year in the playoffs, they laid an egg. So can they win a playoff game? I think they can. I think they've got the team to do it. but they haven't done it yet.
Do you? I mean, they've shown and they've done what they needed to do against the teams that they've played so far. Are you not wanting to wait to see them play Philly? I think they play Philly and New Orleans again this year, but I forget. Somebody of that they play Minnesota again, and they lost the Minnesota matchup last year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to wait to see them play a real team before you actually say they're the favorite, or do you think that they've done enough against bad teams to show that they are the best team?
I think they've done enough against bad teams. Between what they've done to the bad teams and with the roster that they have, I'm fine.
Okay.
They're just really good in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only part that's lacking right now is their linebacking core might be a little suspect, and that's really it.
Yep, and they still look fine.
And yeah, so it'll be interesting watching this year how teams try to expose them, and it's gonna be fun to watch. I don't know that they're gonna be able to find anybody that does.
All right, now we can move on.
Arizona at home against Chicago. Chicago favored on the road by 6.
That's the other one, and I got Chicago easy.
I got Chicago as well. Seattle at home against Dallas. Seattle by 1.5.
This one was a tough one.
You know what? This one looks like a tough one.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Dallas never does well in Seattle. They historically they haven't. This is where Tony Romo got hurt a couple of years back.
That's
This is
right.
what ended his career. This is where Tony Romo also fumbled a snap to win
That's right.
a field goal
He
when
had
they
to fill in as the
That's
holder.
right. When 7-9 got it done in the
Yeah.
playoffs. Remember that? That
Yeah.
was a great day. I think Seattle wins.
All right, I'm sold.
Okay.
I don't like Dallas anyway.
Detroit at home against New England. New England's favored by 6.5. So this is a road team again. Favored.
Yeah.
It's the third one.
Yeah, I missed that. Sorry.
That's okay.
I think I got to go with the fact that the Lions and Stafford are 0-6 on Sunday Night Football.
That's
I'm
a bad
I'm just going
stat.
to ride that. Stafford will still have a probably pretty good game, but I think Brady has a better game. The one thing I'm curious about is Patricia facing his former team. They just use their defensive coordinator in New England is just the guy that worked under him, the linebackers coach.
Well, he doesn't even have the title.
No, he's calling
He's
the
play
plays.
caller. Yeah.
So I'm curious how much, if he's not the defensive coordinator, what did they change?
I doubt they changed anything.
Is he going to recognize some stuff when the offense is out on the field and be able to help Detroit exploit things?
Yeah. I think for sure he will. I think for sure I'm sure they spent all week going over film, and I'm sure Patricia has sat down with Jim Bob Cooter and they've dissected all kinds of things. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that Patricia's told him everything. I mean, I don't think it matters. I think it comes down to execution, and I think the Patriots are 15 years farther in ahead in what they're trying to do than the Lions are.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to.
This could be that one game out of every 6 that Stafford shows up and looks like the Hall of Famer that earned $130 million,
This
though.
could be the one game where, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
You never know when that guy's showing up, right? And I said it.
Yeah.
I think that New England's defense is soft, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if
Yeah.
that's what happened. I mean, if you told me, "Hey, I'm future guy, and this is what happened this week," I'd be like, "Oh, okay, makes sense."
But you got to play the odds here.
Yeah, I think New England wins by more
New
than a
England.
touchdown.
Yeah, got to go with New England.
Especially coming off the loss last week.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, Jacksonville played great, and Jacksonville deserved to win that game, but New England's a proud team.
Yeah.
So they're going to look.
Tom Brady's a proud man.
They're going to look to put the wood to
I wanna
somebody.
know. Yeah.
And Matt Patricia on the sidelines, I think, makes it a little more sweet. I think they're going to want to go in
Yeah.
there and kick him around.
I was talking to my wife about that earlier, and we were wondering what the Patriots, the Bradyites would look like after losses, because they don't lose very often, and I kind of want to go back and look at what their record is after losses.
That would be an interesting stat.
I would bet they don't lose a lot of games, so it's probably high anyway.
Yeah.
But is it a destruction of the team that they play following a loss?
Well, you remember last year, did the Patriots lose? They lost the first game of the season.
Kansas City.
Did they lose the first 2, or was it just the first game? Because everybody was riding
it was
so
just the
high
first
on them,
game.
and then they got kind of spanked by KC. Came in and kind of spanked them a little bit,
Yeah.
if memory serves, and it was the end of the world for fans. I mean, everybody jumped off the Patriots bandwagon.
So last year they lost the first game 42-27. They followed that up with a win in New Orleans 36-20.
And it turns out they were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, well, like, fine enough to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, I guess, so that's good.
Then they had that awful loss at Miami. They followed that up with a win in Pittsburgh, though only a 3-point win.
Well, that makes sense because they're, I think they're basically they're a 12-4 team almost every year. So I mean, it makes sense that they don't lose back-to-back games.
2016 they lost to the Bills. They were shut out.
Ooh!
They followed that up with a win at Cleveland, whatever, but still 33-13.
So yeah, I think probably
They don't lose back-to-back games.
yeah. I think New England's going to be fine this week.
Yeah.
Okay, Monday night
The
game.
final game of the week.
Tampa Bay at home against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored by 1.
Really?
Pittsburgh favored by 1
Wow.
on the road to a hot Tampa Bay team. Pittsburgh coming off a
Interesting.
couple of rough games, a tie against Cleveland, a loss against KC.
Yeah, and they got lit up by Mahomes, too.
They got torched. Yeah.
And say what you will, but I'm pretty sure Fitzpatrick is better than Mahomes. No, I'm joking.
No,
I'm joking.
that's not
I'm
right.
joking.
Okay.
Get away from me, Kansas City. I'm joking.
I'm taking Tampa Bay. There's no reason. I don't understand why the line's set where it's at.
Even with Joe Hayden coming back.
Especially with Joe Hayden coming back because he's got the bum leg. So he's not that he wasn't that he's very old.
Hamstring injury, right?
Yeah, he's very
Well,
What's this?
oh, well, I've just been handed news. It turns out Le'Veon Bell is still not reported to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's still not reported.
And so with this news, I will be taking Tampa Bay.
You know what? If Le'Veon Bell was playing this week, I think that makes the difference.
Hey, last week we were talking about James Conner, and you don't know who that is. He is the son of Sarah Connor, the Terminator, or whatever he is.
Right.
No, he's the running back that's filling in for Le'Veon Bell.
I know who he is this week.
Yeah. Did you watch that game?
I watched the
Did you
Kansas
see
City
the
game.
catch that he didn't get to make because he was out of bounds by a little bit?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He can do some Le'Veon Bell things.
Well, he was out of bounds.
Yeah, but Le'Veon Bell would have been too. Le'Veon Bell's worse than James Conner.
Okay. Yes.
Because Conner is there playing.
Hey, you know what?
How many yards does Le'Veon Bell have this year?
Your biggest ability.
0.
Your biggest ability.
How many touchdowns does
is
Le'Veon
your
Bell have?
availability?
I can't.
Right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, James Conner much better than
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell. Same thing with, you know what? Here's the thing. If your greatest ability is your availability, then Josh Gordon is the worst receiver in the world, right?
Probably.
Because he's never available to play. When is Le'Veon Bell coming back? Do you think? Because
What
this
is it,
is
like
game
week
3
8
now.
or something that he's got to come back?
Well,
Week 8 or week
if
10?
he needs to be active for 6 games for his contract to toll,
that's right.
and if Pittsburgh can put him on the inactive list for up to 2 games for no reason at all,
Got to be back for week 8.
got to be back for week 8.
Got to plan for that spite.
Yeah. Oh, it's tough, man. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
That'll be fun to not care about that when it's over.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh's gripping a little bit. You watch them on the sidelines.
Yeah.
They're starting a little bit of infighting, a little bit of jawing at each
Well,
other.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's everybody yelling at Bell for not showing up for the team.
Mm-hmm.
There's Antonio Brown not showing up because he's out looking for Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin looks like a guy who's not quite holding things together.
A team in disarray.
Team in
I
disarray.
love it.
Not the Steelers team that we're used to. All right.
That was Lose the Farm. And finally, last week, Deep Fantasy Flyer wasn't that deep, but I recommended Chris Thompson, running back for the Washington football team. He finished with 13 receptions for 92 yards.
Pretty good.
Not the best line, but if you're playing PPR, that's 22 points. So
pretty
you're
good.
welcome.
Yeah. That's well done.
You recommended Josh Allen.
How'd that turn out for me?
He had a touchdown.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what, like 100 and some yards?
Yeah.
Not bad. Not
Okay.
bad. I wouldn't have started him, though.
No.
You're a jerk.
I get that a lot.
This week, my Deep Fantasy Flyer,
Yes.
coming in off a hot week last weekend against Kansas City, the outlaw Jesse James, tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Really?
Last week, 5 catches for 138 yards and a touchdown. This week, Tampa Bay.
Are you not sold on Tampa Bay's defense?
Not against their tight end defense.
Okay.
They had Zach Ertz last week. He caught 11 balls for 94 yards. They also allowed 4 catches and 57 yards to Josh Perkins.
Tampa Bay did?
No, Tampa Bay did, to the other Philly tight end, not Dallas Goedert, some other guy.
What?
Yeah, so they gave up 15 catches and 150 yards to tight ends
To the tight end position?
for Philly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, then if you go back to week 1, New Orleans tight ends Ben Watson and Josh Hill, so not exactly world beaters. They're both like 80 years old.
Right.
But 5 catches and 59 yards. And we all know Drew Brees tends to go towards Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
That's their offense.
Yeah.
Jesse James has been used a lot more lately. Juju's getting the usage. Antonio Brown's kind of been falling out of favor a little bit, it seems like. He was getting mad about not being used as much. yelling at Fichtner, I think.
Throw me the darn ball,
Yeah.
as Keyshawn Johnson would say.
I think that they will be able to use Jesse James a little bit, and they'll need to because it's going to be probably another shootout.
Good. That's well reasoned. I like that. Since you made me pick one,
I made you.
I'm going with Seattle's defense against
Oh,
Dallas
Interesting.
because Seattle's defense is. Let me rephrase. Let me start over.
Okay.
Dallas's offense hasn't been super. They don't.
No, they have not.
They don't perform well in Seattle anyway.
That's right.
And Seattle's defense really hasn't been playing bad this year.
I like their defense.
Yeah, it's been okay. It hasn't been great, but they've been on the field a lot because their offense leaves them hanging. I think this week could be a really good week for the Seattle defense. If you have a need, I might look at picking them up.
I like that. I was looking at Seattle this evening after you put this down.
Mm-hmm.
5 interceptions already, 3 sacks already. Dallas hasn't been doing great. They only have 28 points in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's fewer than Seattle has.
I don't understand
That's not good.
I don't understand how Seattle they're 0-2, but they've only lost those 2 games by 1 score each.
And they were away games too, so that's good.
Yeah, I don't understand how they're keeping these games close. They should be blowouts. They should just be getting killed.
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. That's right.
Other funny thing, Dak Prescott only has 330 yards and 1 pass touchdown all season.
Really?
You want to know who that's comparable to?
Who's that?
Josh Allen. Josh Allen has 319 yards in 1.5 games.
So fewer opportunities.
Yeah, and 1 touchdown pass as well.
So you'd rather have Josh Allen on your team than Dak Prescott?
At this point, I think I would,
Nice. Okay, solid.
and that's saying a lot.
That is saying quite a bit. I'm
Yeah.
not sure I'd go that far at this point. Maybe.
You have to say that. You told people to play him last week.
Yeah, but that's because I didn't think anybody was listening.
6 people were listening, and they lost.
They lost. It's all my fault.
Yeah.
They're burning me in effigy.
So
Okay.
that's it.
That's it. That's all we got. So well done. Good luck this week, fantasy people.
Let us know how you did.
Let us know how you did.
If you have something that you want to hear us talk about that doesn't relate to fantasy, but just football in general, the actual game of football, we'll talk about that too. The fantasy stuff is working for us this week, so we work for it.
I can drone on about football things ad nauseum.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's something. I'm JB.
And I'm TK.
Have a good night.
Goodbye.